In today's episode of Craft and Chat, I'm going to show you how to upload a design to Cricut Design Space and then how to put that design on a t-shirt. Keep watching. Everyone, welcome to our Crazy Life Scotland and another Craft and Chat video. If you're new here, my name's Fiona. It's lovely to have you, and please think about subscribing if you like all things crafty. And I also do family vlogs, dog vlogs, hauls, all that sort of thing as well. So if it sounds like the kind of thing that you would like, please do subscribe. Right, a few weeks ago someone asked if I would show them how to make a t-shirt using the Cricut machine. And I thought, yeah, no problem. And it just occurred to me because I was looking out my t-shirts because the weather's starting to get nice and it's giving me that spring vibe. So I was starting to look out t-shirts and things for the nicer weather coming in. And saying that, we're due snow today. But anyway, so when I was doing that, I remembered and I thought, right, I'm going to do that this week. So not only am I going to show you how to cut your design and put it on a t-shirt, I'm actually going to show you how to upload a design to Cricut Design Space from somewhere else first, because I've seen a design on design bundles that I really like and I want to put on my t-shirt. So that is what we're going to do today. I'm going to turn you around and we are going to get started. So here I am in design bundles, and I am going to talk in more depth about this site and other sites that I use a lot in a different video. But Design Bundles is one of the many places you can get SVGs from. I've got a membership, so with that you get certain amounts of plus credits. But if you've not got a membership, you can get free designs here, and you can also buy designs as well. But the one that I'm going to go for today is this one. Well, it's very appropriate for me. And it says, if only crafting burned calories, because that is so true. I would be the skinniest person ever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy it just now for 1+ credit. Don't worry about that. The actual buying of it isn't the issue. What I want to show you is how to get it from here into Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to buy it just now. I'm going to confirm. So if you didn't have the membership, it would be £5.07 for this design. So it's saying download now. Okay. And as I mentioned before with the fonts, when you download anything, most SVGs or fonts, anything like that, it comes in a zipped file. It comes compressed. So here's the one that I've just downloaded in my downloads. It's Crafting Burned Calories, and it's got a little zip in the folder there. So what I want to do is I want to open that, and as you can see there's 4 different files. That's why it's compressed. So what I want to do is I want to come up to extract all, click on that, and then it gives you the option to tell it where you want it to extract it to. So I'm going to go to browse. You can put it wherever you want. I'm going to go to my downloads, and then I think I will make a new folder and call it crafting SVG. Oh, yeah, crafting SVGs. SVG, if you don't know, is the cutting file. So I'm going to select that folder. And now when I come out, it's saying the destination is going to be downloads crafting SVGs. So I'm going to click on extract. If you forget to extract them, when you go into Design Space and try to upload it, it won't let you. It will say that it doesn't recognise it. And a couple of times I went, you must recognise it, it's an SVG file. And then I remembered I haven't actually extracted it. It's in a, still zipped up in a folder. It's like trying to pay with your bank card without unzipping your purse and taking it out first, if you know what I mean. If you just handed someone your purse, they would be like, what do you want me to do with this? Unless they were a robber and then they would just run with it. They wouldn't get very far with mine. I've not got any money. Anyway, I'm digressing. So now that I have downloaded it, I have extracted it to my folder. I'm going to go in and show you where it is. So I'm going to go to downloads, And there's my crafting SVGs folder, and there they are now. So I need to open Cricut Design Space now that I've downloaded my design. Now, unlike with fonts, if your Cricut Design Space is already open before you download an SVG file, you can still upload it into Design Space. With the fonts, it's slightly different. I will link my video regarding the text and how to use it in Design Space for you. Right, so I have got my Joy selected. I want to try and make it on my Joy because I've not used the HTV Smart Vinyl. HTV, for anyone who doesn't know, stands for Heat Transfer Vinyl or Iron-On. So yeah, I'm going to leave it on my Joy. I want a new project. And this is going to take me to my blank canvas. I've mentioned before I don't like having a grid on it, but you can click on these buttons and get that changed. I also work in centimetres. If you prefer to work in inches, again, you can do all that up here. You click on that and then go into settings and you can do it all. Also, if you want to change the colour of your canvas, you come down to where it says blank canvas, click on that, and that up here gives you the option for colour. And sometimes it can be nice just to make it a different colour so it's easier to see what you're doing. But with this, I'm just going to leave it white. Okay, so I have got my canvas here ready to go. I've got my design downloaded, but now how do I get it from my computer into here? If you go to the left-hand panel and down to where it says upload, click on that, and you can see different things that I've uploaded from friends. I had got those from Etsy. There's lots of different places you can get files from. Of course, I could have used a Cricut Design Space image as well, but this was one that I wanted to do. So what I want to do now is go to Upload Image. Now you can have the option to click Browse, and then you would look here and you would find your downloads and then your crafting SVGs, and then you would pick it from here. Now your SVG, which is your cutting file, usually has a little Chrome or Microsoft Edge logo beside it because that's how it's uploaded. I don't know much about actually creating SVGs. If you wanted to do it as a photo on something like print and cut, you can use the PNG file, and that means it's a photo with without a background, so you can do it that way. And you could probably do that as well and turn that into a cutting file, but for the purposes of this video, I would just double click that and saying I want to open that one. So I'm going to go to open, and there it has brought it in. If only crafting burned calories. So from here, I would go, you can give it a name if you want, but I don't usually bother about that. The way that I usually upload a file is I like to click and drag it. When you get to here and you click Upload Image, rather than browsing, I like to open my file, and it's that one that I want. So click on it and drag it over. You see that the screen goes a sort of light green. Let it go and it brings it up that way. It's entirely up to you what way you do it. I just like to do it that way because I find it easier. I'm going to click Upload down here. And there we go. It's in beside all my recent uploads. So now to get it onto my canvas, I click on that, and you can see that it shows up here. If you wanted to upload more than that at the one time, you can click on them all, whatever ones you want, and you can see they all turn up here. But I've clicked on them by mistake. I don't want to take them in, so I'm going to click on that again, and I'm back to only having the one that I want. You're the one that I want. You are the one I want. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Anyway, add to canvas. And it will come in. Oh, it's not too big. Usually they come in absolutely huge. But it's not too big this time. Right, so here we are. So at the moment, I can move it about. It's all together. If I click on here, you'll see it highlights the whole lot because it's all grouped together. If you want to look at anything specifically, this is your layers panel down here, and that shows you all the separate things that are going to cut. So it's got all your letters there together. They'll probably be attached, I would think. You can click on the little arrows to make the less there. There's another word. And you can see that when you click on each one, it actually highlights it. So this is the word burned altogether there. This one is crafting. Now the reason that I'm showing you this is because if you want to change anything specifically, you need to click on the layer. Here's the scissors. You need to click on the layer that you want to change. And there's your love hearts as well. So I don't want to change anything about the design, but I think I want to change the colour at a couple of bits. Now I've only got 2 colours of the Smart HTV vinyl here, so I'm just going to make it 2 colours. I don't want to make it too complicated anyway for the first time showing you how to do it. If you want it all the one colour, that's not a problem. It would just be a case of making sure it's the right size, which I'll show you in a minute as well, and then you could carry on with it. But I quite fancy making, I've got silver and gold, so I think I'm going to make my scissors. So I'm going to come over to here, I'm going to click on my scissors, and it has highlighted the scissors there. And up here you can see that it's a basic cut and it's black. So if I click on the black, I can change that so that it's gold. The colour on your screen does not represent the colour it's going to be because you put the vinyl on the machine. So even though I've got that as yellow, if I put green vinyl on, it would obviously be green. It's just to tell the Cricut that you're using a different colour, and it's a good visual aid for you when you come to actually cut it. I'll look at that and say, right, I want that to be gold. So I'm going to do the same with the love hearts, I think. So I'll click this love heart up where it says basic cut, and I'm going to change that. Your most recent colours that you've used go along the top, so I'm going to make that gold. You can change your colours over here as well, but that's a different tutorial. So I'm going to click on this love heart, basic cut black. I'm going to click on the black and make that gold. Now the rest of it I'm going to be doing silver, so click on that. So you can click on it there, or you can click on it in your layers panel. It's up to you. As long as the bit that you're wanting to change is highlighted, I'm going to click on black and I'm going to change that to silver. Down here, I'm going to change that to silver. So yeah, there's a way you can colour sync things in the layers panel, but I'm not going to get all complicated like that just now in this video. It's really just to show you how to upload a file and then cut it out and put it on a t-shirt. So this is going to be silver again. And this is going to be silver. There we go. So that is the way that I want my design to be. So if I go over here, click it, that's it all sorted. Now, I don't know how the file's been uploaded. I might need to attach certain things, but we'll check that in a minute. The first thing that I want to do before we go to make it is I want to make sure it's the right size. So I'm just going to grab my t-shirt. Right, so I just measured my t-shirt, and I've decided that the size that it came in as, 21 centimetres wide and 16 centimetres tall, is about right actually. So I'm going to leave it at that. However, if I decided that it was actually a little bit on the big side, you can either take your cursor down to the little box and you can size it like that. Now, as you can see, it's all staying in proportion when I'm doing that. That's because this little padlock up here is locked. If I unlock it and then start messing about with this, look, you can make it go really weird, you can make it go skinny, you can make it go long, you can make it do anything that you want. But I'm going to say I had done that by accident and I think, oh no, what was it before? You can just go up here to where it's got the undo button and that should put it back. Nope. It has taken it back to the locked proportion. Now, what size did I say that was? I can't remember. So I'm going to undo again until I get it back. Oh, here we go. I'm going to redo that. There we go. So this was the size 21.5 by 16.69. If you wanted to use if you knew a specific size that you wanted it to be, you can come up to where it says size. Say I wanted the width to be 25. You can just delete the numbers that are there, put in what you want it to be, and then if you hit tab, because the little thing is locked, the padlock's locked, it keeps it in proportion for you. So that would be 25 wide and 19 high. But if you wanted to manually change the width and the height, so if you wanted it to be, just delete the number, say I want it to be 20 centimetres wide, but I only want it to be 10 centimetres tall. Or say 8 centimetres because it's already there. The padlock's unlocked, so if I hit tab, there you go. I don't want it like that, but that's how you would change it up here. So I'm going to undo again. Right, so that's it now back to where it was before, and that's the size that I want it to be. So I am ready now to actually cut the vinyl. So we want to go up to the little green box up here that says make it. Now I have got my Joy to automatically tell it that it's going on a mat. Now look what's happened here. Oh my goodness, all those words, all those letters are jumbled up. We don't want that because that would be a nightmare to try and sort out. And the reason that's happened is because we've not attached it. So we're going to hit cancel. We're going to go back here. Now what we want to do is we want to click on the items that are the same colour. So the scissors, if we do it in the panel over here actually. So in our layers panel down the side here, we're going to look for our scissors. There we go. So I'm going to click on the scissors and it's showing you all the different layers there. So you could take bits out if you wanted to. I'm just going to leave it as it is. And I want to attach that to the two love hearts so that when it cuts, it's in exactly that position and it makes it easier for putting the design together on the t-shirt. So if you hold Control on your keyboard, I'm not sure what it is, if it's a Mac, is it Command? I'm not sure. And so hit Control and then click your love heart in the layers panel. Keep Control pressed and hit the other love heart. So that now knows that the scissors and the two love hearts are together. And I now want to go down to here and click attach. Oh, it's all went to the one colour. Why has that happened? Because the whole thing was grouped already. So what you want to do is you want to come up here and you want to click detach. So it's not all together anymore. And it's still all gold. So we can go to undo, undo, and there we are, we're back to normal. So if we click the whole lot and we go up here, it gives you the option to ungroup. Now I'm deliberately putting these mistakes in so that you can see what's happening, because the likelihood is if you're new to it, you will make these mistakes, because I still make them and I use it all the time. So I've ungrouped it now. So we shall see if the scissors, let's have a look to see if the scissors are separate. So we'll click on the scissors, we'll press Control, click on the heart, keep Control pressed, click on the other heart, and let's see what happens now when we click attach. Yay! They've stayed the same. Now, I've got a little exclamation mark up here, and this will be telling me, I would think, that it's too big for the Joy. I forgot about that. I'm still learning with the Joy, so this is good, we're learning together. So it has to be 11.43 by 121.92 or less. Okay, so let's go back to the whole thing again. And I'm going to group it this time because we've ungrouped it. So I'm going to click group and I'm going to make it the maximum size that it can be. Okay, so let's see what happens if I make it the maximum size. So the maximum 11.43, we're at 16.688 and the maximum's 11.43. So let's change that. I'm going to delete them. I'm going to leave the padlock locked so that it keeps it in proportion. 11.43, hit tab. So that's changed it to 14.74 wide and 11.43 tall. And we've not got our little exclamation mark anymore. So I'm just going to go with that. If I wanted to make it bigger, I could just use my Cricut Explorer, but you might only have a Joy, so I'm going to stick with the Joy. If you're using a different Cricut machine, you can make it whatever size you want, as long as it's within the size parameters. But I want to stick with my wee Cricut Joy today, because I've not made a t-shirt with that yet. So let's go back now to ungrouping it. So up here, we go to ungroup. Is in the layers panel that's attached, and when I highlight it and go down here, you get the option to detach it. So it is still attached, that's good. And then what I want to do is all the rest of it I want to attach together so that it all stays in the one place. So I'm going to click on that, press Control, go to the next one, here it is, Control, and click the next one, keeping Control down and clicking again. Just keep going down until you see a bit that's white. Click on that, and that's it all, I think. So now I can let go of Control and I'll go down here to attach, and that's it attached. So now it's ungrouped, but if I keep the silver bit highlighted and move that away, look, that's all staying like that. And that's all staying like that. Now you would think that's quite a bit of a waste of vinyl, but I'll show you how to get around that in a second. Now let's see what happens if we go up to make it. There we go. So two mats. So we've got one mat that's silver and it shows us how much vinyl we need on there. And if we go down the left hand side and we click on the other mat, it's showing us that it's to be gold. So it's whatever colour is on the mat is the colour that you have to put on. However, I want to use smart vinyl rather than the matte. So I'm going to go back up to number 1. And where it says material load type, I'm going to click on there and go to without matte. And it's telling me here, based on your layout, material must be at least 15 centimetres in length. That's fine. And then I'm going to click on the yellow one, the gold one, and I'm going to, so you can have one on the mat and one without the mat, it's up to you. If you don't have smart vinyl, you have to use a mat. I'm going to do it without a mat. And it's telling me my material must be at least 19 centimetres in length. That's fine. Where it says mirror, this is important because it's heat transfer vinyl. When you're using heat transfer vinyl, you must mirror your image. So if we go back up to the silver one again, and then where it says mirror, if you click on the little eye, it tells you it turns on the mirror for iron-on projects. So I'm going to click on that, and you'll see it actually changes the design there. Then I'm going to go to my gold one, I'm going to click on mirror, and it changes the design. Right, so that's the way that I want it. I'm now going to go down here and press continue. It's connecting my machine and it's my Joy. And you'll see here where it's setting the base material, it's only given me the option for smart materials because I've told it that I don't want a mat. If I had put it on a mat, all the options would be available to me. But I am going to hit smart iron on because that's what I'm looking at using. So I click on that and it tells me smart iron. Pressure is default. You can change that if you want to, but I don't think I would need to. And I need the fine point blade and then load the material. This is my smart iron on. I've not even opened that yet. So that's the gold one, is the silver one. My camera had stopped. All I did was press go. So I loaded the material and then pressed go. I'll show you properly with the other colour. I'm just going to speed the video up for you now. Now it's saying there that the cut is complete, so I just need to click unload and it will bring it out for me. There we go. Good morning. It is now the next day. When I was just cutting the silver vinyl, my mum phoned to say that she was stranded at the train station, so we had to go to her rescue. So it's now the next day, and I was just going to take up from where I left off, and I thought, no, I'll show you what I'm doing because it might happen to you as well. So the first thing that I did remember to do was to save my work in Cricut before I shut the computer down, because I've made that mistake too many times. So I'm going to load Cricut Design Space back up and show you what to do. So just opening Cricut Design Space. Right, so I am going to go to my stuff up at the top. And I'm going to go, I just called it Crafty T-shirt. So I'm going to go back into that. And I'm going to click Customize because I want to show you something before I continue making it. So yesterday, just in case you're not sure, to save it, I just clicked on Save up here. And I went to Save As, and I called it Crafty T-shirt. Okay, but I'm not needing to save it just now, but it's just, that's how you would save it. Now you've got two options here because we've already cut the silver bit. One option is you can click on that and then come over to the layers panel, and where the little eye is, if you click that, it makes that one disappear. It's still there, it hasn't gone away anywhere, but the machine won't try to cut it now because it's not there. So I would just basically go up to make it. And as you can see, it's only trying to cut the gold one now. The other way you can do it, I'm just going to cancel out of that. Right, so just to show you, if I go back to the layers panel to where that the one was I just hid, I can click the eye again and it's there. So it's not deleted when you click the eye. So it would mean that if you wanted to make the project again, it would still be there. It's just that the machine knows not to cut it if it's hidden. So if you don't want to do it that way, what you can do is you can leave them both there. You can go up to make it. You can just ignore that one because it's already been cut. You can go to the left hand side, click on the gold matte, and we need to remember to mirror because it's heat transfer vinyl, so it's mirrored now. Even though I had saved it the way that it was with the mirror on, it still turned the mirror off, so that's something that you should really pay attention to. It had defaulted to being on the matte, and I'm not cutting it on the matte because it's a smart vinyl, remember. So I'm going to click the drop down arrow. Obviously, if you were using normal vinyl with a matte, you would leave that on. I'm going to click without matte. It's still mirrored, so that's okay. I'm going to continue. And now it's only the smart materials that I can choose from. So I'm going to click the smart iron on again. And it's telling me it needs the fine point blade and the material. So let's turn round again. Now here is the silver that I had just cut yesterday. I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up, but you can see the cut lines. But I've not done anything with that because I'll show you later on what to do with it. So here's my gold one just out of the box. Now because it's iron on, we put it shiny side down. That's the shiny side, that's the dull side. I'm going to open my Cricut. I'm going to put it shiny side down into the little lip bits. Let it do its thing. It's now telling me that it's loaded and I have to click go, so I'm going to go down to go and click. It does take a couple of minutes to prepare, so don't worry if nothing happens straight away. I will speed this bit up again for you. It's 100% cut, so now it's telling me to unload. Unload, out it comes. Now what you will see here is, because I didn't hide the silver bit, I should have showed you that it was the one that's got the grey around it is the one that it's going to cut. So now I need to actually cancel the cut because it thinks it's still got the silver one to do. So I'm just going to click cancel, then yeah, cancel, and it takes me back to there. Now I like having the design back up for the next part of the process, which is called weeding, and that is basically where we get rid of the vinyl that we don't actually need, because if we look at this you can see the bits that have been cut, but there's a whole load in between, so if I just tried to iron that on, the whole thing would stick to my t-shirt, and we don't want that, so we're going to go on to weeding next. Right, hopefully you are in shot here. My wheelchair makes it difficult to get my stand in. I've put the ring light on, so that will hopefully help you to see. Now, my design ends here, so I'm going to take a pair of scissors, and I want to save as much vinyl as I can because it is expensive. So I'm just going to cut where my design is. So this is the bit we're using, and this bit can go over there. Right, now, I don't know, can you see that? This is the way that it's going to look when it's on your t-shirt, because the dull side gets put against the t-shirt, which is why we want to mirror it when we're putting it shiny side down. So when it comes to reading, we are going to, oh, I see another bit I can save. I'm terrible. I save the tiniest wee bits of vinyl that I can, because you might think you're never going to cut anything that size, but you just never know. You just want to make sure you don't accidentally cut the design, because I've done that before. Right. So to get rid of the excess, we can't do anything on here because this shiny side is actually a film. This is the carrier sheet that gets used for actually, so it stops it from sticking to your heat press or your iron or whatever. So we need to turn it over to the dull side, and this is where we take out all the bits that we don't want, or we do the weeding. A bit like your garden. Now I've got a weeding tool here. You don't get them with the Cricut Joy. I did get them with the Maker, not the Maker, the Explorer 2, but if you don't have them, you can get them on Amazon. You don't need to get Cricut brands. There's loads of different kinds you can get, and they're not too expensive. But I would definitely advise that you use a proper weeding tool. You could probably use sharp tweezers or something, but this is definitely my preference. So to make sure that it's all stuck down properly, again, the scraper tool came with my Explorer 2, but you could just use like an old store card or loyalty card or something like that to do it. And it's just a case of going over it all to make sure it's nice and stuck to the carrier sheet, so that when we lift the bits we don't want, the other bits stay where they are. Now normally heat transfer vinyl or iron-on is quite easy to read, so hopefully this will be as well. And the smart vinyl, the normal one, was really good to read. So what you want to do is just get a corner and lift a corner of it up. Now, let me see if I can show you this. You can see there, that's the shiny film, and this is the vinyl. So this is the bits that were taken away leaving the bits that we want to go on our t-shirt. So I'm just going to gently pull this back like that, and you can see that bit stuck because that's cut. And what I like to do, I like to just cut it as I go so that it's not trying to take too much off at the one time. This is a bit inside the letter, so again I'm going to take smaller scissors. I'm going to cut this bit. Now I recommend that you do take your time when you're reading, because it's really important that you don't peel away any bits that you want to keep. And one of the worst things is an I, the letter I, the little dot tends to want to disappear. It wants to lift up, which is never the end of the world, but, and then if you get stuck, you can use your wee weeding tool again. Right, I'm just going to cut this bit off because it makes life easier. I mean, some people just pull it right off, but I like to take my time. This is actually reading very nicely. Cut this bit off. Again, just be careful what you're cutting in case it's accidentally lifted a letter up. You don't want to cut your letter. Right, I'm going to go back to this corner. You can do it whatever way feels the easiest way for you, just as long as you end up with your design still on the carrier paper. And again, I like to have the design up on my computer so that I can just double check any bits that I'm not sure of, if it should be left or it should be taken away. Especially when it comes to doing the inside of the letters and things, it's good to just double check that you've definitely got everything. So there's an I. Thankfully the little dot has stayed on. It might be difficult to see this on the screen, but if you've got a good light shining on it, you can see where the cut lines are. Now, if I turn it over, you can see that most of it is weeded out apart from the bits in the actual letters, inside the actual letters. So we're almost there. I'm just carefully going to go into the letters and take out all the little bits. Generally, heat transfer vinyl is a lot easier to weed than self-adhesive vinyl, because it's already on the sticky carrier sheet. And I do find weeding heat transfer vinyl quite relaxing actually. Right, I think that's all the bits. So I like to compare what I've got here with what's on the screen, because this is the point you want to just double check you've definitely not left any bits in that shouldn't be, because once you iron on you can't get it off. So if you've left any on there, it would be on there permanently. So that looks fine. Now I'm going to do the same with the gold. I don't know what happened to my footage, but I did show you that I was cutting away all of the spare vinyl and just leaving a little tiny bit between all of the pieces that were to be kept together, and that way I wasn't going to be wasting a lot of vinyl by weeding it all out when I didn't have to. So you'll be able to see that there's just a little bit of the backing paper connecting the scissors and the love hearts. Sorry about that. Is everything weeded from the scissors. Now, before going over to the heat press, I like to just double check to see what it would look like. So I put it the way that it goes. Yeah, that's going to look good. The problem that we have though, we can't do it both together because we've got the excess carrier sheet, so we need to do it separately, and I will show you what we do. So we've got our design and now we need to get it onto our t-shirt. So for that, you're going to need a heat press or an iron. Now, I've never done it with an iron, but I know there's tutorials on YouTube how to do it with an iron if you don't have a heat press. I'm going to use the Cricut Easy Press, which I'll show you. So this is the Cricut Easy Press. You do get a mini one of these as well, which is a tiny wee one, perfect for ironing on little bits. But I don't have one of them. I'm going to use this. I do have a big heat press, but not a lot of people do. So it's more likely that you'll have something like this or an iron. Now, it's all very well saying that we need heat to put it on, but how much heat do we need? Cricut actually do have an app that tells you what temperature to use and how long to press it for. If you're not using that app, then you can just Google it, or you can look at the instructions that come with the heat transfer vinyl that you've got. Quite often it will say on the back of it somewhere to heat it at whatever temperature for however long. If it doesn't, you can go onto the site where you bought the heat transfer vinyl from, and they'll usually have the information there. Now, one thing that is quite important is all heat transfer vinyls are different, so you want to check with each one that you're using what temperature to use. Also, some of them like you to peel the backing off when it's still hot, and some of them like you to wait until it's cold before you take it off, so that's important to note as well. So in this case, I'm going to use the Cricut app, so let me show you what that looks like. To Google and just type in Cricut Heat Guide. Heat Guide. Cricut Heat Guide. Select options to view instructions. So I'm using the Easy Press 2, which is already listed there. You can change it to the original Easy Press, or, oh, that's a new one, I don't know what one that is. Oh, and there's a mug press, I don't have that either. That's a wee mini one that's so dinky. But I've got the Easy Press too, so that's the one that I want. You're the one that I want? I did that yesterday as well, didn't I? Right, heat transfer material. If I click the drop down box, I am using Smart Materials Smart Iron On. I'm selecting my base material, which is a t-shirt. I think it's cotton. I'm just going to say it's cotton. And I'm using the Cricut pressing mat, which I'll show you in a minute. If you've not got that, you can just use a couple of towels. And I'm going to press apply. It's now telling me that I want to have my Cricut Easy Press at 315 degrees Fahrenheit. I want to keep it firm pressure for 30 seconds. And then I have to slowly remove the liner when it's cool to touch. Okay, so this is the Easy Press mat that it was talking about. There's two sides to it. Mine's is well used by now. If you don't have this, you do need to have something under it. If you don't have this, you can just use a towel, that's fine. So I have forgotten what it was now. I'm going to switch it on. And did it say 315 degrees Fahrenheit? Hold on. Yes, 315 degrees for 30 seconds. So I touch the I click the thermometer, and then I'm going to change it to, click the thermometer, press the down arrow until I get to 315. Then I'm going to press the time button, and I'm going to tell it it's to be for 30 seconds. There we go. And the little Cricut light there will change to green when it's ready, and it will beep at us. So let's get our t-shirt and design sorted. Now, you may have noticed that the heat guide told me that I was to preheat for 15 seconds. That doesn't mean that that's to be preheated for 15 seconds. As soon as this says it's ready to go, it's ready to go. It's your material. And it's important to preheat it because it takes out any moisture. It makes sure that there's no wrinkles in it or anything. And that the vinyl is going to stick to it as best as possible. So I'll show you once it's up to speed what I do and how I try to get the centre. What I also do is I use a lint roller just to roll over the material first to make sure that there's not any bits of ooze or dust or dirt or hairs in my case, because we've got the 4 dogs. I don't know if you heard that, just as I switched the camera off it went diddy, and as you can see, oh, it looks blue on the camera but it's actually green. So that's ready to go. I'm going to get my lint roller. If you don't have a lint roller, don't worry about it. It's really just to, it's a case of making sure that it's all just nice and clean. It's up to you. Doing it with one hand is not easy. Right, so I'm going to preheat my material now. I'm going to pop this on there just for, it said 15 seconds. I'm really just going to heat it just now because in order to find out where the centre is, I'm going to fold my t-shirt and then actually put a little crease where the centre is. If you were doing this properly, like for a customer, or if I was really taking my time doing it, you can measure it, but I find this is just an easy way. You're having to preheat it anyway, so it's an easy way to find out where the centre is. I've now got a rough line down the centre, and you can eyeball it to see where, like how far down you want the design. It's entirely up to you. It's difficult with this because it's an oversized t-shirt, but I'm just going to eyeball it. So I always use the biggest bit first. That's better. I've got you back on the tripod. You might be at a weird angle, but you'll see what I'm doing. So to find out where the centre of this design is so that I can line it up with the centre of my t-shirt, I like to just fold it in half, but don't fold it with the sticky side or it sticks to itself. So I just fold it that way, roughly see where the middle of the design is, and just give it a wee press so I can see now that that is the middle. So I'm going to line the middle of the design up with the middle of my t-shirt, and I think roughly there would be a good place. Again, if I was doing it for a customer or doing it properly, I would take my time and measure it properly. Now, what you will see is it sticks to your t-shirt, which is good, and you can now see the reason that we mirrored it is because we're now going to iron it on this way and it's reading the right way. What you should also always do is put something in between your heat press and the vinyl. So I use just a Teflon sheet. You can even use greaseproof paper, that sort of thing. Just anything that's going to protect your heat press. So I'm going to put my heat press on it. It's at the right temperature and time. I'm going to press the little C button and it is now counting down the time. I've got quite firm pressure on it because that's what it said. It actually counts down the time for you, which is good, but when it comes to the end it will beep as well. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, beep, lift off. And I can take the Teflon sheet away. Now it said to wait until it was cool before we gently peel that off, so I'll come back to you in a minute or so. Right, hopefully that's cool enough. I'm impatient, I hate waiting. So I'll do it this way so you can see what I'm doing. You just gently pick up the bit of the carrier sheet and at the bits that are sticking to the t-shirt, just very carefully pull it off. If you find that any of the vinyl is lifting off of the t-shirt, you can put it down and just press it again for another few seconds. But hopefully, this is the first time I've used the smart vinyl, so we'll see. Can you see what I'm doing? There's my hand in the way. There we go. So there's the liner that goes in the bin, and the design is left on there. You can hardly feel it actually, that's really good. Now the second part of our design, because we attached it in Design Space, it's all together, so it should be easy to place it where we want it. A design like this actually wouldn't be too bad if you hadn't attached it, because you know roughly where you would be placing things. But it's a good habit to get into attaching it, because with more intricate designs, you really do want it all to stay in the right place. So I think probably, oh, there's a hair. If you see any hairs, again, it's good practice just to take it off so it doesn't get trapped under your vinyl and then be stuck there. Right, I think that looks about right. So I'm going to take my Teflon sheet again, pop it on top, and I'm still at 315 for 30 seconds, so I'll put that on top, press the C button and let it do its thing, and it's firm pressure again. Now, one thing that I always forget to do, but you should do because it's good practice, is once you've pressed your design and taken the backing paper off, you should turn your project over and heat it again from the other side, just to make sure that it is properly adhered to your material. That's it, beeped. I'm going to lift it off. Take this off. And another waiting game. Bored. It is very tempting to just say stuff it and pull it off, but you really should stick to the instructions. Hello. Mr. Elf's bored too. I'm like, oh, it's still hot. Come on. Okay. Let's see. Yay! Okay, so I'm going to do what I've just told you that you really should do. I'm going to turn the t-shirt over, like so, and I'm just going to pop my heat press back on, maybe for about 10 seconds or something. It's a good practice to get into it. Just make sure that it's definitely adhered to your material properly. That should do it. So I've switched my Cricut Easy Press off, and let's now have a look. Yay! What I'm going to do, I'm going to actually put the t-shirt on to let you see what it looks like. And here we go. I could probably have put it down a little bit further, but I think it looks okay. If only crafting burned calories. I like that. Yay! So that is what it looks like on. I'm quite happy with that. Right, I'll come back to you in a second because it's too cold to sit in a t-shirt. It's freezing. So there we have it. I think we've covered a lot in this tutorial. It might be quite long, but I wanted to break it down as much as possible for you because there's some tutorials that I've watched that skip quite a lot and I'm like, how did you get to there? Ah, help! So I do like to, when I'm explaining things, I like to break it all down for you. And it's not to patronise anyone, it's just to make things easy because everybody learns at different speeds. And some people can look once and say, ah, right, I know what I'm doing. And other people need a little bit longer, like me. So yeah, we've covered how to download and extract a file from an outside site, how to then put it into Design Space. Once it's in Design Space, how to change the size and the colour. We've learned how to save your project and go back into it again if something happens, if you get an emergency in the middle of it. So I'm quite glad that happened actually because it was a good way to show you what to do. And then we have covered cutting the vinyl, weeding the vinyl, saving as much as you can, and then how to heat it. Like I said, I use the Cricut Easy Press. You can use an iron, but I don't know all the details. Go onto YouTube and just type in the search how to use heat transfer vinyl with an iron, and because I did see a tutorial popped up the other day, so they're definitely out there. And I've covered how you actually put the vinyl onto the t-shirt. It's not as simple as it seems, is it? Because you need to preheat your material, you need to make sure that it's in the middle, you need to make sure that you cover your design with greaseproof paper or what's that stuff called? Teflon, something like that, just to basically protect your heat press. And then how to wait very impatiently and then take your backing off and then turning your project over and making sure that it's on. Now, I think they recommend that you don't wash it for, is it 48 hours, something like that, just to make sure that the adhesive has definitely had a chance to stick. If you put it in the washing machine straight away, it might come off. Also, you need to remember, because it's very smooth feeling, but if you were to iron over that, it would stick to your iron because of the type of material it is. So if you're going to iron a garment, I never iron, but if you're going to iron a garment that you have put heat transfer vinyl onto, make sure that you either iron it outside in or the other way around, or put a towel over the design before you iron it so that it doesn't stick to your iron. And that's that. So there we go. That is our t-shirt. If only crafting burned calories, I would be a size 8 and it would be wonderful. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you do want to see me doing something similar but using a design from Design Space, the Explorer 2 and the mat, then just let me know and I will do that for you. And I think that's everything. Sorry for keeping you so long, but I hope it's been helpful. If it has, please do hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Feel free to share this video with anybody that you think might find it useful. And I will see you in our next one. Thanks everyone. Bye.